lot of formal art training. I know you've been in the painting business for years as a house painter and also as a commercial painter. How has that affected your artwork, and why did you decide to go from commercial and residential property painting to becoming an artist?
I started doing art off of creating samples for my clients that would be acceptable for their walls or whatever I was working on. And the unacceptable samples became desired as art. I started doing art in 1989 for the sake of sanity, so that I would allow myself to live and not be destroyed through alcohol, such drugs and so forth, to save my own self, basically. This frustration is what provoked me to be an artist, to actually allow myself to escape.
Now, a couple of your commercial structures that you've done, the Harley Davidson shop and that paint store in South Pass.
Right. That's Charm Colors.
Charm Colors. You use so much technique in painting those particular signs.
Well, the technique is basically taking something that they had and blown it up into my own imagination for their need.
And is that what you're trying to do with the art? Is that what you're doing?
Super graphics. Right, that's what we were doing with super graphics.
I understand.
And that's what I do with the art, is where I was taking things on canvas, per se, I took onto hats. And then I did the hats so that I could do it on furniture later. That was my objective, is to keep my art as in a color chip.
Now, honestly, Dave, you told me once that you did hats because they sold and it brought in some income, and that's how you kept buying.
It's called lunch money.
Tell me about this hat, because these chef's hats are so popular.
All right, this is a bouquet, is what we call them. It's it's not just a hat. And my feeling as to art, that's what I wanted, was to create a feeling that was usable. It was, in my feeling, the hat was a joke as well. Is when I started doing hats, the objective was to have, I wanted to sell art, or have art seen, not so much to sell, because I've given many hats away versus selling a hat. Most hats are a request thing. I don't know what provoked me to buy chef's hats, except that I liked the surface. I needed shapes. I needed shapes of hats. This hat's pretty fun.
Well, one thing about that chef's hat's pretty multifunctional, huh? It does all kinds of strange stuff.
Well, have you worn this to the beach?
No, but I wore one to a Grateful Dead concert.
Oh, okay. I feel better already. But this hat is the multi hat. Okay, this is an attitude hat, I think. If you want to get, it just depends on what side you want to get on. You want to get in an attitude, you can turn it in. For the beach, what I liked was kept the sun off my ears and off my neck.
Nice.
Optimum.
Very nice.
But the wearable art was my objective when I started doing hats.
Tell me about this hat, because I know it's one of your personal favorites.
This here's an interesting style. This is a Legionnaire hat. Kids like it, but as a surface, I like to paint. I used to give, and still do, kids hats, and so this is pretty much the Running Man. What would be an artist that used to do this type of Escher, MC Escher effect of not really trying to show one particular thing, but something going on inside of something going on. And this is a fun hat, excuse me.
Wow.
Color.
Very nice. It's a
Look
good
at that.
hat.
It's a bad hat.
It is a bad hat.
It's one of my favorites. That's another one here is the, this is the patriotic cow pattern.
I know the cow pattern has been one of your kind of staple.
Bovine,
Yeah,
bovine.
very staple.
I'm into bovine, full of bull.
That looks like one of your, that's almost like one of your paintings.
Right, right. It's a very.
It's a canvas, basically, a canvas on a hat. That's
Right,
how I look at that one.
That's what one thing when I had mobile art in mind is it was three-dimensional. The three-dimensional is what I was after. When I painted on a canvas, my mind was just flat. The hat allowed me to feel a different dimension of flat, which then had me doing all different types of things, which is that's a nice hat too. Good color hat.
Yeah, definitely. The blues, the yellows, and the reds look real nice. Now, I know you did a whole series of hats based on this particular color, kind of
Right.
the Italian flag sort of color. And I know you did about 5 or 10 of them, and I really like them.
Oh, this is a fun hat. This here are helmet liners, for if you like ride a bicycle helmet, you know, and you take it off and your head's hair squashed. You're still, you know, covered with as far as visual aesthetics. Like when I take my hat off, you take your bicycle helmet off, your motorcycle helmet. That was my theory behind these hats.
Now, let's talk a little bit about your canvases, because I have one in my collection, and I get a lot of it. It gets a lot of attention, and I get a lot of recognition for having a real nice piece of art. You don't have a lot of canvases, do you?
No, few. I primarily painted on surfaces that I could readily have cheap. Such as drywall.
I was just going to say that, your drywall
was one of my first mediums of surfaces to work with.
I really like lizard rock.
Absolutely. This is a real interesting piece as from where it came and what was the objective to get to where it's at. From the trash, it was a thrown away table, as you well know, and it was basically scrubbed, detailed, and painted with various effects by request of different people, which is my objective usually, is all by request and imagine it and my own input. So it's where that's where this table came from.
Now, I know a lot of the pieces take quite a few hours to do. One of my favorites is that desk, like that. I think it's a phone desk, where you've painted the front and sides, and you've left the top and the bottom.
Right. That's
its original condition.
Right. If I recall, that's a probably in the 50s era. The fat leg with a skinny foot style. If you recall, it has the short feet underneath the 3 drawers, and those are natural, and the legs and the feet, which connect to the top of the desk, were done natural. I started developing my techniques with the desire of not having to clean equipment, brushes, rollers, whatever. So I started using newspaper, plastic, cardboard, newspaper wrapped with plastic, just palm fronds, branches, weeds. I did tumbleweeds when I was out in the desert. I used palm fronds, such as that. So they were disposable. I hate cleaning brushes after art. That's like cleaning the dishes after dinner, you know? My sink's full of them. Sometimes I'm influenced by the public as to what their desires are, what their feelings as to what I do, what they would like, whether it's a cow pattern canvas tennis shoe with a Jackson Pollock background combined, or some will ask me to do a usually it's an influence by the person that may buy the art itself. Yin and yang, which is whichever way you want. It's a little chef's hat action. It's kind of a mushroom. I mean, if I could do tricks. I believe art is a self-expression of a desire. I do renditions of Jackson Pollock, which I never had any inclination who Jackson Pollock was or saw his art, was aware of it, and I'm doing very similar work as his, not as a desire, an objective. That's just what I do. And I do feelings that are Monet, which are expressions that are abstractly and to some degree uniform expressions, and Van Gogh, which was pretty wild in my feelings as to what I saw. But they all are influences in that respect. This particular piece was Hastings Laundry. It was specifically done by myself, designed through the owners by requests of things that they liked as colors. But it was done with plastic, newspaper, cardboard, just disposable items specifically for the pleasure of not having to clean equipment. The walls, I didn't do anything to the ceiling, but I did everything else. The walls, the doors, the floor. It was specialized in my trade as I am. I just took it into my art world so that I could transfer my feelings of art into massive, big expressions. It was just recently used for a commercial by the Healthy Choice entrees in, I believe it's Irwindale, California, that will be shown nationwide with my art used as the backgrounds. In my art, I feel that my children are quite an influence as to me being out of control, but in control of myself, so that they influence me that way as children's mischievousness, energy, uncontrolled energy.